Okay, we'll call the meeting of the House of Assembly Management Commission to order. Just a few reminders before we begin. First of all, Happy New Year to everyone. I think this is the first time that we've seen each other, or most of us have seen each other in a while, so Happy New Year. Please keep your mic muted until you are called upon to speak, and wait until you're recognized by the chair before you begin to speak, okay? And then if you want to speak, just raise your hand and I'll be watching for it anyway. So we're going to begin now with introduction of the commission members. And we'll start with Deputy Speaker Simmons. You're muted, Angela.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. I was actually responding to a text, so I apologize. You called on me to just say hello?
Yes, I did.
Okay, good. I was like looking at the minutes. I thought, what am I doing? Good morning.
To introduce yourself.
Yep, good morning. It's Angela Simmons, MLA for Preston and Deputy Speaker of the House. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Minister Maslin.
Good morning, everyone. Kim Maslin, MLA for Queens.
MLA Barkhouse.
Good morning, everyone. MLA for Chester St. Margaret's.
Minister McMaster has joined us.
Good morning, everyone.
Minister Mumbrikat.
Hi, folks. Derek Mumbrikat, MLA for Sydney, member 2.
That should be MLA Mumbrikat and not Minister.
I'll take it.
One time, Minister. MLA Ince.
Good morning, everyone. Happy New Year. And Tony, MLA for Cole Harbour.
MLA Chender.
Good morning, Claudia Chender, MLA for Dartmouth South.
And the clerk.
Good morning, James Charlton, Chief Clerk of the House, Secretary to the Commission, and non-voting member of the Commission.
That's great, and we're glad that Minister McMaster is able to join us now. I finally got through all the rigmarole in Inverness where we're talking about internet connection, probably. I just want to acknowledge as well that Gordon Hebb, our Chief Alleged Counsel, is part of this meeting, as Deborah Lusby, Director of Administration. So welcome to you both. So moving along with the business, the minutes for the last meeting were circulated in advance of this meeting. Are there any corrections required to those minutes? Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to adopt the minutes of the May 4th, 2021 meeting. We have a mover.
I move.
Do we have a seconder?
I'll second.
The motion is carried. In business arising from the minutes, there was a resolution at that May 4th meeting that read that the House of Assembly Management Commission directs staff to consider the best way to conduct a review of MLA office budget allocations and report back at the next meeting of the commission. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to the Chief Clerk to speak to the item. James?
Thank you, Chair. And so the Speaker's Administration Office took a look at the issue and came up with 4 possible options. So they're set out in the agenda. I'll just quickly go over them right now. And I'll go in the order that they show up in the agenda, although it doesn't reflect any order of suggestion or recommendation or that. One option is actually to further defer the discussion in light of the election and the fact that we have many new members, so that this matter, they can better understand what the issue are, and we can see if this continues to be an issue, the budget allocations. Next option is to include a review review of the budget allocations in within the scope of a remuneration panel. To do that, that would require legislation be introduced and passed in the House of Assembly to expand the scope of the remuneration panel, which is defined by legislation. The next option that we came up with is having Deborah Lusby's office provide an analysis of the current MLA office rents for the Management Commission itself to review and consider. So just to give you an idea, this would be sort of a bit of a number crunching exercise, present the numbers to you, sort of the relative costs being experienced by the by rural, urban and town members. So the Management Commission could look at those and make up its own mind and decide how best to proceed itself. And the last option being put forward was to hire an external group to conduct a review. So I know we were asked the best way to conduct it. These are 4 possible options, and if we had to suggest one under the circumstances, it's probably, we think, the most cost-effective and fastest option would probably be to have Speaker's Admin Office conduct the analysis and report back to the Management Commission for consideration. And also, I know the motion was framed specifically in terms of MLA budget allocations, but I understand people may be interested in the issue of inside and outside members, and just taking a look at how many members are affected, are in the sort of the I won't say gray zone because it's a pretty clear line, but people who are near the 100-kilometer mark, and just getting a sense of that and whether there's any adjustment that might be needed there. So that's everything from me. Happy to entertain any questions if anyone has any.
Thank you, James. Is there any discussion from the recommendations that the clerk has brought forward? Any discussion? I don't see any hands. Oh, MLA Tender.
Well, I appreciate that. I'll echo, I guess, the advice of the clerk. I think it does make sense for the Speaker's Admin Office to do that analysis. And for the benefit of new members, I would just say there's a whole history of how MLA office budgets work, but there's quite a discrepancy in the rents paid by members across the province. And so where we actually account for things like staffing and even mileage for outside versus inside members, we actually don't account at all for that discrepancy in office budget. So I know for myself, like I probably pay $1,000 more a month than some other members just because I'm in the urban core. But it doesn't seem quite right that then my constituency is less able to avail itself of advertising funds or other things from my office because of that. So the last management commission, at least some of us were interested in looking at a way just to finding a formula that just makes it equitable. So whether those rents get taken out of budget allocations and are dealt with separately, like in the way that our CAs are, or whether there's different allocations for city, town, and rural, or whatever it is. But I would support the recommendation just that the Speaker's Admin provide an analysis, and then we could determine next steps. And I'm fine for that to include the inside-outside members question as well.
Okay, thank you, Claudia. Derek?
Yeah, thanks, Chair. And just to echo a little bit of Claudia. Claudia's absolutely right, because I can tell you that I'm the MLA in Sydney, and I guarantee that the discrepancy between the office rents when it comes to the kind of the bigger urban core here in Halifax is very different. I just think it's important to have the information. We're not making any ironclad decisions on this. We support the recommendation. Let the office, and I appreciate everybody on the call from the Speaker's office, because we're looking like we may task you with some extra work, but I think it's important that we have the info. Ultimately, decisions will be made down the road on how to proceed. I think it's a good first step. We may want to bring some more validity to it down the road if we want to go look at it from an external standpoint. But right now, I think, based on the fact that without being able to go back to the legislature at this point. Let the office go back and come back with some recommendations.
Okay, Deborah?
I don't know whether this is an option or not, but would a few folks from HAMC be interested in being part of a little working group where we could collaborate and share info as it comes along, just to kind of keep the process moving, I guess, as opposed to waiting for another commission meeting to present the data?
Claudia, I say you're in favor of that. Angela? Okay, so as it stands, how many would you be looking for, Deb? Oh, so one from each party, maybe, or?
Sure, or at least two.
Okay. So Claudia, you said that you'd like to be part of the committee. Angela, you did as well? Anybody else?
I just, Keith, sorry, Mr. Chair, if I can just mention something. I agree with it. I'm just trying to think of the composition for the caucus, that if we're going to put more than one on it, I may want to go back and look at somebody from the urban area and then somebody from outside of HR.
Yeah.
I just want to I can get you an answer on that fairly quickly. I just want to bring that back to my caucus.
Okay, so Danielle.
Yes, if we're looking for a member from each party, I would be more than happy to take part in this. Thank you.
Claudia?
Mr. Speaker, I think just for the sake of simplicity, I like the idea of just one person from each caucus, and then we can feed that info back to our respective caucuses for discussion as we, if needed. But fewer people tends to make faster work, is my experience. So if we're all represented, maybe that's the simplest way to go forward.
I agree.
I think you're probably, that is a good idea, because we're, again, through Deb's office, you're going to be bringing in recommendations for further discussion anyway. So you'll have your chance to, do your comparison yourselves as the meetings go on. So if we're in agreement, then we have MLA Chender, MLA Barkhouse, and Deputy Speaker Simmons that are going to be on the committee with them. Is that correct? Okay. So with that, we know the recommendation that's going to be coming forward. So I guess we have to make a motion to direct staff to do that. So the motion would read that staff provide an analysis of current MLA office rents and of the distances of inside and outside members for the review and consideration of the Management Commission at a future meeting. So do we have a mover for that motion? We have a mover? Claudia, do we have a seconder? Eric. Okay, so that is the committee's directive going forward. So next on the agenda is the appointment of members to the House of Assembly Management Commission Audit Committee. So I'm going to once again turn it over to the Chief Clerk to speak to this item.
Thank you, Chair. So the Audit Committee is a committee of the Management Commission. It consists of two members of the Commission, one of whom must be from government, the Government Caucus, and another of whom must be from one of the opposition caucuses. And those two members, together with two lay appointees who are appointed by the Chief Justice of Nova Scotia, compose the Audit Committee. So that committee, the two Management Commission members, that's technically been vacant since the election, when the Management Commission was effectively vacated, when everyone ceased to be an MLA for the upon dissolution. So we need to a motion to appoint a government representative and a opposition representative to the Audit Committee of the Management Commission.
Okay, and we do have some names to put forward, I believe, in the form of a motion. So I'm going to ask for a motion to appoint Danielle Barkhouse and Derek Mumbricket to the Audit Committee, each for a term commencing today, January 11th, and continuing until that member ceases to be a member of the Management Commission or is replaced as a member of the Audit Committee by the Management Commission, whichever first occurs. So can we have someone make that motion, please? Alan. You're moving the motion, Alan?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a seconder? Tony? Okay, thank you. So the motion is carried. So the next item, and this is something that, looking at the future, we don't know what the future holds, of course, but I think COVID is going to be around for a while. So maybe to avoid a lot of confusion going forward, if indeed COVID is still around, we will be meeting virtually. And rather than the clerk's office have to contact to get unanimous consent, can we have a motion that to authorize the next Management Commission to be held virtually? And that'll cover everything, and then we see where we go from there. I don't know.
Can I just ask a question?
Yes, Claudia, go ahead.
So would this motion cover only the meeting on the 18th of January?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Would this motion cover only the meeting next week?
Just the next meeting of the Management Commission. It's only just
Okay.
the meeting. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Alan moved that motion, I think. Are we in agreement?
Yes.
Alan moved it, and Tony, you seconded that, did you?
I think that was the previous motion.
That was the
That was
previous
the
one.
previous
Okay.
one.
There,
Ms. Barkhouse, I think, is second this one.
say that again.
I raised my hand to second it, so I've seconded, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, thank you. Sorry for the confusion. So that motion is carried. So if there is no further business to come before the meeting, ask for a motion to adjourn.
I just want to know if Alan painted that picture behind him.
I did that this morning. That's why I was a couple of minutes late.
Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We have a seconder. Alan, okay. Moved by Danielle, second by Alan. Thank you all, folks. I guess the committee will be meeting again soon, and it will be a virtual meeting, and we'll see where things go from there. So again, thank you all for your time. Enjoy the rest of your week. Take care. Again, Happy New Year.
Thanks, Chair.